Do you know what the UDO is and why it's such an important tool when choosing lots to build on? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use it, what it is, and why it's such an important tool when building on lots. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell to notify you every time a new video drops on how to become a successful and confident new construction home builder. Hi, my name is Thayer. I want to show you how I show countless amounts of other people use this powerful tool and how it's helped them increase profits massively. If you're not using this tool and you want to learn how to look at lots in a whole new lens to increase profits, then stay tuned because this is going to show you a whole new way of looking at buying lots. I'm going to break this down into 5 easy steps to show you how you can find this in your area that you're building on and how you can even use this as a tool to find lots to build on. First and foremost, what is the UDO? The UDO stands for Unified Development Ordinance. This is the exact tool that every municipality has for you to use to show you what you can put on any lot, what your development can be if you're developing, what you can do and what you can't do. If you're buying a single lot, it will show you how to take that lot and maximize density, or what exactly you can put on the lot, what your setbacks are going to be, how much from the front of your property line back do you need to set your home, what types of homes and what types of any kind of building that you're developing can go on that lot. First, you have to identify what the zoning is, and then per that zoning, it will tell you exactly what you can build. Now, keep in mind, this is always going to be a very big document. A lot of these documents are 800, 1,000, 1,200, and even more pages deep. You need to really just learn a couple spots that are important to you to really just identify what you can do when a lot opportunity comes to you. So you get a lot opportunity come to you and you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, what can I build on this? Well, before in the past, you're probably going out to the city, whether you go there, you're calling them, you're emailing them, you're waiting for a response. But let me just tell you one little secret. A lot of the times, the cities and municipalities and even the civil engineers will just tell you a high level view of what you can do on those lots. I'm here to tell you that it's very important for you to learn because there's a lot of things that you're going to study and you're going to learn how to manipulate different things with the UDO. And when the city or the municipality tells you, yeah, you can't do this, you can state things in the UDO to contest what they're saying. I can't tell you how many times that the city told me you can't do this because of this and this, and I will cite different parts of the UDO to show them exactly why we can do this. Your surveyors have a good idea what to do based on the UDO. So when they're doing a survey, they're doing a lot layout, a lot of times they'll give you their idea. So for example, if you have a big lot in downtown area and have a lot of different things that allow for density, doesn't always mean that you should. But a lot of times, if you know what you're doing, you can figure it out for yourself. I'll give you a couple examples. We have a particular lot, it's a large lot in the downtown Durham area, where we were able to take this lot and split it into 5 different lots. Now, if I was selling this, I would probably only put a couple of units on there. As a matter of fact, I'll probably only put 5 units, 1 on each one of the 5 lots. But this is something that I'm looking to build to rent. So I'm going to keep this property, so I want to maximize density. You need to do what makes sense. So if you're selling this, it may not be attractable to a buyer if you're making a ton of houses or putting a ton of units on these lots. Well, in this case, on a build to rent, I'm turning this into 11 units. So I'm putting 2 units on 4 of the lots, which make 8. And then in the back lot, I'm putting a duplex with an ADU on there. That's going to give me 11 units versus 5 to sell, making this kind of like a multifamily development for me. Another thing with the surveyors, they might lay it out one way that's not really the best, highest and best use of what you're going to do with it. You're going to know better how to lay this whole thing out and what you can and cannot do. Yeah, the surveyor is going to give you dimensions. They might be able to, tighten it up a little bit to get it to fit the lot exactly the way you need to. But I've seen surveyors send stuff over to me and I'm like, this is horrendous because They know how to lay out lots, but they don't know about the actual building part in most cases. They don't know about the building that's going to sit on there. So that part needs to make sense as well. If you're starting to see how this can help you maximize on profits and density, smash that like button right now. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. If you're starting to kind of understand a little bit more about what the UDO is, how you can use it in your business to help you buy lots, or do you still have questions? Your thoughts and questions will help make these videos even better, so don't hold back. So I'm going to show you two different UDOs. Right now, this is Durham, remember, Unified Development Ordinance. So the next one I'm going to show you is going to be the city of Raleigh. As you see, Raleigh Unified Development Ordinance. This is going to show you how they are so different. So this one's more like a flip book online. And what I'm looking for in Raleigh is called residential districts, which is in chapter 2. And I'm just going to start off right at the top at general provisions. This is the main part that you really need to grasp. If you want to get deeper and learn the UDO, this is a very detailed guide and has a lot of information. Let me just go back to the main page here for a minute. To be honest with you, when I'm looking at these, like it's a good idea to kind of skim through, know this. This is their main thing. This is an important one right here. Special district overlay, use regulations, subdivision and site plan. This is more like developments. This one is also going to be more of resources for when you're doing a full development. So if you're doing developments, this is good to know. This one's not that important. This one, again, it's a good idea to kind of skim through this and know some of the things in here. And then you've got definitions. So for now, we're going to really just kind of focus in here. General provisions. Again, this is the different zonings, tells you a little bit about it. I like to focus on, just a couple of different zonings. And mainly what I focus on in Raleigh is R4, R6, and R10. And as you come through here, you can see the different things. These charts are really good. These are going to be your go-to areas and places that you're probably going to spend the most time on. So like if I find something in R4, it's going to tell me it needs to be at least 10,000 square feet. And again, this is for a detached home, which is basically a single family standard home that you're looking at. So 10,000 square feet, I need 65 feet of frontage. Actually, I'm looking at one. I'll use that example in Raleigh of one I'm actually looking at right now and having conversations with the seller on. But then the depth of it. So it's got to be from the street. This is the primary street. So this needs to be 65 feet wide. Okay. The depth needs to be a minimum of 100 feet deep. And now you look at, it'll show you your setbacks. Okay. So from primary street, which is B1, from your front to the back, minimum needs to be for that R4 is 20 feet. Now from side, like if it's a corner lot, that's when this one will come into play. B2 will say 20 feet as well. Then your side setback, so if you're in an interior lot, that will show you B3, which is going to show you right here. It only needs to be 10 feet. And then it looks like this right here is your rear, which is B4. B4 shows your rear, and you have to be, what was B4? 30 feet. So 30 feet for this. So this will kind of give you your idea. If you're looking at a lot, what are your minimums? So when I'm looking at this, this is my minimums of what I could do, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what I want to do. So let's just imagine that we're evaluating a deal and we see there's 2 lots for sale, and the 2 lots are each 100 feet wide. Okay, so we have 100 foot by 100 foot deep, maybe, and 100 foot by 100 foot deep lot. When we come over here, we see that it could be actually 65 feet, which tells us that essentially we can turn this into 3 lots. We can add another lot. But maybe when we're going through it, we're looking at the neighborhood and everything showing like 80 foot to 100 foot wide lots, and there's a specific product being built on these lots, then it probably doesn't make sense to drop these down to 65 foot lots. You should probably keep them the 100 foot. That's an example of why you wouldn't always, just because you should actually split them up into that amount. The other thing you need to take into effect is you need to understand in your municipality what it takes to split a lot. So in the city of Raleigh, I need to have either a civil engineer or landscape architect do the work. They're going to, around here with the way things are right now, 20 or 30 grand it's going to cost me just to split this. It's going to take me about 6 to 9 months on average to split this into 3 lots. Well, does that make sense? That's the other thing. Well, in 6 to 9 months, I can probably have my architecture done. I can build, get permits. I can build, I have my funding and be finished or just about finished and getting a payday on 2 lots versus 3. Now, when I'm buying, I always like to buy based on what it actually is. So it's actually, let's say it's the 2 lots, the scenario that we're talking about. I want to make sure the numbers work based on 2 lots, because if I pull an audible, I find out some information that I don't like later, I can always go back to the 2 lots. If I can split it to 3 lots, that's just an extra added bonus. So these are the things that you need to look at. Again, this is another thing. This is a detached home, so make sure that you're on the right page. This is an attached home, which is basically a duplex with a property line down the center. Their diagrams don't really, show very well. This is kind of showing like a front to back scenario, duplex or attached. It's not actually showing the line down the middle, but that's what an attached home is. Townhomes, everybody knows what a townhome is. This is what the requirements would be for a townhome. Apartments, civic building, and open lot. So then you come in here and this is going to give you a little bit more information about different things that you can do. So again, this is a great tool to really understand. It's going to give you a competitive edge against anybody that you're buying against when you know this more than most builders. Because I'm telling you, I have conversations with builders all the time, and the majority of them do not look at this at all. Tiny homes, this is starting to be a big thing that's coming into play. The problem with tiny homes is, you have this tiny house with still this big lot. So it doesn't always make sense to put a tiny home on these lots right now. I think that the municipalities need to catch up, and if they can make these lots even smaller, then it would make more sense. So you just got to flip through and get to understand the different things. Now we're going into the next chapter here. Learn the different things about the UDO. So this is the city of Raleigh. I'm going to jump over to Durham. Durham is a different area. I go to what's called Article 7, Design Standards. So remember, in Raleigh, it's Chapter 2, Residential Districts, where in Durham, I'm looking for 7 design standards. So everything's called a little bit different from one municipality to the next. And these are 2 cities that literally touch each other. They butt up to each other. So every municipality is going to be different. So you need to understand that this is not the same throughout. Like just saying, just because it's in the state of North Carolina doesn't mean that it's always going to be the same. So in Durham, this is my main focus in zoning. I mainly focus on this, but I also deal with RS10, RS8. I even have a few in RS20, but I do come across quite a few deals in here, and I know the UDO a little bit on these areas. What I don't know, I go in and look up a little bit more. I don't focus at all, very little on here, nothing on these right here. These are more rural. I tend to stay more in the inner cities, but this right here gives me the most amount of density where I have a lot more flexibility. So again, the same concept that I showed you in Raleigh with showing the different setbacks and such. And again, we're going to come down here and we're going to find a different type, 0 lot line. 0 lot line is when it comes on the edge, but it's all the way up to the edge of the lot. You'll see this in downtown areas mostly. Don't see this too much any other place. But then you have traditional house, which is pretty much the same as the other one. Attached. This gives you a better diagram of what attached means. So we're going to see when we scroll down a little bit further what the difference is between attached and duplex. Attached means they're each on their own parcel. See how we've got this line drawn between the 2 units? So this is showing that they're on their individual parcels and they have an individual unit. So even though they're touching or combined, think of it like two end units of a townhome. You own the land that you're on as well as a building. Now let's go down to duplex. Duplex is one parcel. This one shows it's on one parcel, but it has two units. So typically this is for an investment property or somebody that's going to maybe buy this, live in one side, rent out the other side, which still makes it an investment property. If you wanted to sell these as individual units, what you're going to have to do is create a condo association where basically the condo association owns the land. You could sell off each individual. You have to have an HOA, and they would only own the air rights, just like a condominium building. The condominium building does not own the land. It just owns the air rights of that unit. So this is more for investment opportunities. I never build these to sell unless I was building it for an investor. So again, for each one of these types of housing, it's going to show you what you can and what you cannot do on all of these. Another thing you'll see in between, you noticed it a couple times in here. So you'll see this individual that's for an ADU, accessory dwelling unit. So these are becoming very popular across the country and for cities that are really pushing for density. And a lot of times the reason for the density is to create more affordability. So another thing you'll see, like in the city of Durham, they've got what's called the small lot option, which means instead of needing to be 5,000 square foot in this RU-5, it only needs to be 2,000 square foot. Instead of needing to be, I think it's 45 feet, you have 45 feet of frontage, you can go down to 25 feet, and then here's your setbacks. The difference is here that your primary dwelling can be a maximum of 1,200 square feet, okay? With a building footprint maximum of 800 square feet. In the city of Durham, we could do reduced flagpole lots, and that's for a whole nother video. We could talk more about flagpoles. In the city of Raleigh, they allow them, but they're not as popular as you would see in Durham. So again, just because you can do something doesn't mean that you actually want to do it. You want to be consistent to what's going on in the communities, what people are actually doing, what the buyers are accepting. So going through all of this, again, this is going to be your main, but there is a lot of different pieces in here. So I think in the city of Durham, I think out of this entire Durham UDO, the only thing I don't ever really go into is sign standards, but you'll see when you're in here looking at something, it'll start to cite you to a different page. Okay, so the reduced flagpole lot or small lot, to learn more about that, you're going to come over in here. It's going to start talking about what you can do with different things there. So get to know your UDO. Here's my recommendations. Get to know your UDO, number one. Number two, start to understand the different zonings and where they lay out. You can see in many cases, you can go onto your local GIS, your geographical information system, and you can put a layer that will show you the different zoning and where you'll typically see the different zonings and then what type of builds are there, and start driving around those areas and understanding that a little bit more and really try to hone in and focus on one zoning or a couple of them. For example, this RS 8, 10, and 20 are very similar. The only difference is going to be like your lot widths and your square footages. But basically what I can build on there and what I can do on there is going to be very similar between these right here, where these two are going to be the same, except for a couple minor differences between the one with the two versus the one without. The other thing that you want to always know about is whether you're in the urban tier or suburban tier. And then you also have rural tier, and I've seen it called other things in other places, but those are like the three main ones that you're looking at. If you're in an inner city, that's going to be the urban tier, and a lot of times you'll have different requirements for that tier. Okay, here is a look of the Raleigh GIS, which is also called IMAPS. If you look down here, it says GIS. So here's an exact example of what I was just talking about in Raleigh, where this one is 100 feet, this is 101 feet across the front. So you always have to look at the frontage. The back doesn't mean anything. as far as following the UDO. So the front of these combined are 201 feet. So if I go back to the UDO in Raleigh, in R4, this is R4 zoning, I need 10,000 square feet, which we have that by long shot. We have basically 100 by almost 300. So we have plenty of space when it comes to the square footage. 65 feet is the frontage, 100 depth, which we have that by a long shot, and then our setbacks here. Okay, so let's go over in here. So it's 100, this is 110. I'm going to pan out a little bit and start to see what this neighborhood looks like. And as you see, all the lots are about the same width. Maybe not depth. This one has an extra lot back behind it, but the width is about the same in this entire neighborhood. So I don't want to start cutting these down and making them smaller, especially when all of these homes here are $1 million homes. Plus, when I walked the lot, I noticed that this lot, about 2/3 of this lot right here, slope are really, really bad. The grade is terrible. It goes down into this drainage ditch, which this is not blue line. This is not any type of riparian buffer or anything. There's just a drainage ditch that comes down in here. Once we get back in here, it drops off like 50 feet. And then there's actually a culvert and it goes up underneath the street. There's a little tunnel that goes up underneath the street for the stormwater to drain out to wherever it's going. I don't know if it's going this way or this way, but that's the purpose of it. So in this sense, I would not figure splitting this into 3 lots. I would keep them the same. The second thing is this lot right here, if I split into 3, the third lot wouldn't even be usable unless I brought a ton of dirt into here. So maybe if I got this for a really, really good deal, then maybe it's worth doing that, splitting them into 2 lots, building 2 houses, and over time kind of fixing this lot by bringing landfill and dirt in to fix this lot. So, but right now the way I'm looking at this is 2 lots, and I don't even really love this lot. I'm really liking this one a lot more. This structure is no longer here. That's been demoed. So that's the way Raleigh would look. Okay, so the city of Durham, these are 2 lots that I currently own that I'm built on. When I bought it, this line down the center did not exist. So I was looking at this neighborhood and I'm seeing, okay, they've got an attached home, right here. There's a duplex. This was built really before this whole attached home thing went into place. This is a fairly new build, but in the same owner that built these here, and I bet that they would have done an attached home had that been in the UDO at the time. But this is a fairly new thing in Durham. So he later did the attached home, because if he wants to, they're rental units right now, but if he wants to sell these at one point in time, he could sell them very easily. These ones, he also put an ADU in the back. It's not really showing it here on the GIS, but that has an ADU in the back as well. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, attached homes, duplexes, and I can pan out and show you all over the place. But as you see, we've got narrow lots right here. So it's something that's accepted quite a bit in this area, just in this small little view, in this small little block. So I looked at that, and I also looked at the small lot option. The small lot option, remember, 1,200 square foot homes, 25 feet on each one. And as you see, I have 48 feet, so I wouldn't be able to do the small lot. So we immediately went over to attached. So going and looking at the attached home, we're in RU5, I believe it's 2 is this one. I need 5,000 square feet. We have 48 by 155. We are plenty fine when it comes to that. Our lot needs to be at least 45. Remember, we're 48. So that's checked all the boxes. And again, I looked at this as, can I make money? And is this a good deal if it's just 1 lot? And yes, it was. When I was able to split it, it actually doubled my profits. Maybe not doubled, but you see it severely increased my profits. If I were to just build 1 house here, it'd be between $675 and maybe $750. And I'm looking at this as building 2 houses, and I'm looking at the lower number, about $675 going into it, fairly conservative. And at $675 times 2, I'm at $1.35 versus, let's call it $700,000. So yes, I'm going to have more expenses, but I'm going to have a lot more profits as well. And here's the other thing, if I'm reducing the price a little bit and building 2 of these, I'm going to get a much bigger buyer pool by going a little bit lower versus higher. So that was the reason why I decided to do the attached home and the split, and that's how I looked at this. So here we decided to maximize on density, whereas here in Raleigh, I will not, if I decide to buy these lots, I will not look at maximizing on density. If you're getting this concept, then great. Get out there and study the UDO. If you still need help, you're not really understanding the whole thing, I'd love to help you out. Shoot us an email at info@homebuildingbp.com. We'll get back to you and see how we can help you maximize on your profits by learning the UDO a little bit more. And again, I want to remind you to like and subscribe so that you can be reminded of more videos like this that are going to help you be a better, more successful, and confident home builder. If you're liking these videos and it's starting to show you that you feel that you can be a confident and successful home builder, then watch this next video to show you how to become a licensed general contractor.